To his 4 kids, Matthew Ames is the best dad in the world. To his wife, Diane, he's the love of her life. And to Mike Willesee, Matthew's story is one of the most inspirational he's ever reported. Soon, Matthew will be Australia's first bionic man. In June last year, Matthew had a sore throat. He thought he had man flu. What he didn't realise is that streptococcus A, a bug many of us carry harmlessly in the backs of our throats, had invaded his bloodstream. Matthew rapidly went from cold-like symptoms to unbearable pain. In hospital, surgeons told Diane his only chance of survival was to amputate his arms and his legs. And even then, there was less than a 1% chance that he'd live. It was up to her to make the decision. Diane didn't hesitate, and that's when this remarkable love story really begins. Here's Mike Willesee.
If you were talking to someone who'd never met your dad, never met him, never seen him, and say, "What's your dad like?" what would you say?
Awesome. One word. Awesome.
Ben, what would you say? Remember, they've never met your dad.
Blood.
What?
Spectacular. I would say inspirational, caring, a role model. He shows a good example, all like that kind of stuff. And I would say he's a really good dad.
So, who's got the best dad in the world?
Me.
We kick it the other way and then we'll bounce back. Oh.
Here comes baby Will.
Before a common but deadly bug suddenly flooded his body with toxins, Matthew Ames was a hands-on dad.
Bounce! When I pass a mirror, and see myself, I keep on almost taking sort of a second look, going, holy crap, that guy's got no arms and legs.
"40-year-old Matthew is a university graduate who is working as an engineer for Origin Energy. He and wife Di live with their 4 children in Brisbane." Hi Matthew, Mike Willesee.
Hi Mike, great to meet you.
Yeah, good to see you.
I'm nice
Hi,
to meet you.
how are you?
I'm Di.
Yeah, I know you are, Di. Yeah.
Honoured to meet you.
Yeah, I've been reading so much about you guys and looking forward to meeting you.
Oh, it's been great, yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. It's
I
good to meet you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Matthew and Di have been in love virtually since the day they met. Your relationship with Di, your sisters describe it as something like the perfect love affair.
So would I.
How did it start?
We met at university, first week in uni. So, yeah, we were friends for a while, and then I went, you know what, I really like this girl.
We were both 17, and within 2 weeks of knowing each other, we both knew that we wanted to marry each other. It just took another 5 years for it to happen because we had to finish uni and start earning money.
Is it true you proposed at the top of the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, no, it was...
That's fantastic.
It was good.
How strong are your memories of your wedding day?
Oh, I would say they're pretty strong.
Yeah.
So it was a magical day for us.
And of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Love you. It's so beautiful.
You recited the words from a song.
The Depeche Mode song, yes.
Do you remember the words?
I do. It was, I found somebody to share the rest of my life, share my innermost thoughts, know my intimate details. Someone who'll stand by my side and be my support. And in return,
You're right. It's okay. Grab a tissue.
Got a tissue there.
That was beautiful. I was so pleased you remembered it.
We're much better than me at remembering things. I've got a bit of a fish memory, so lucky you didn't ask me, Mike.
I was hoping I didn't need the tissues today.
Well, you cried on the night too, so...
I did, yes. Crying's my thing.
And acclamation, everybody.
And then babies followed, and there was no prouder dad than Matthew.
Okay, we'll say goodbye to everybody. Relax.
They had 3 boys in quick succession. 4 years later, one more bub would join this big, happy family.
Hello. How are you, Luke?
Good.
Great to see you. Come on in. Had a
Hello.
good day?
Good.
Hello, Benjamin. Say hello to Mike. He's behind you.
Hello.
Luke and Ben are the eldest boys. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
You say hi to Mike.
Hello.
Good to meet you.
Luke.
3-year-old Emily, their youngest child and their only girl.
And we've lost one.
Where would Big Will be?
Boo. Hey, hello. How are you, Will? I can see you. Coming over and say hello.
Hello to who?
Me first. Hello. How are you? And behind you, this is Mike. Say hi.
Will
What's
is
your
7
name?
years old. And my nickname's Willow. So we could be related. We're not related, okay. Until he fell ill, Matthew was an active father. Water bombs one day, coaching the kids cricket the next.
So we don't get confused.
In June last year, you started feeling sick.
Mm-hmm.
How sick did you think you were?
I knew there was something pretty wrong with me. I mean, being a typical Aussie bloke, I didn't really go to the doctor very much. And, you know, I knew I was sick. I kind of wondered whether I had the man flu and I was complaining a little bit too much, but I just knew there was something wrong with me.
Matthew was just progressively getting worse and worse, and he was in a lot of pain. But there was nothing that seemed to improve it.
Matthew was sick for some days and was concerned enough to see 4 doctors. They all sent him to bed. Then suddenly he was struck with unbearable pain and could not walk. He was brought here.
Got to triage. I put out my left arm and showed the triage nurse my rash. And apparently I was awake for another 12 hours after that, but my brain's decided that it doesn't want to remember anything from that point.
Do you remember the pain?
Yeah, I remember the pain. Yeah. Apparently I was pumped full of 3 lots of morphine and I didn't really settle the pain, so yeah.
Then 3 weeks of your life disappeared.
Yeah, now known as my beauty sleep, so...
Not for your family.
No.
Early next morning, Matthew was placed into an induced coma. His left arm identified as the site of an infection. Doctors operate to try to stop the spread of the toxins, but it doesn't work. Would you say he was dying?
He was in the process of dying, definitely. We were dealing with a man who was what we call septic, I guess, with an infection that was affecting every organ system in his body and making him extremely sick.
Matthew went into streptococcal toxic shock. Worst affected was his left arm. Di was frantically dividing her time between his hospital bed and caring for their children. The next day, Matthew has his left arm taken from him, amputated high above the elbow. Di is called back to the hospital. She thinks he is dead.
I don't know why I kept on saying it, but I just kept saying it as I was driving the whole time, going, we can't have you go. I love you. You need to stay here. So I was just saying it to the air as I was driving.
So what was your belief?
I thought that we were losing him that night.
We looked at, his limbs on the Friday evening when we amputated his left arm. His other limbs didn't look normal, but they weren't to the point where we thought we needed to amputate. But you could see them then progress over the next 12 or so hours to become essentially looking like the left had done.
So you had to proceed to a quadruple amputation.
Yes, yeah.
How rare is that?
It's very uncommon. This is the only one I've been involved with. I'm aware of other cases, but it is uncommon. It's usually in victims of trauma in the battlefield scenario.
On the Saturday, just 3 days after Matthew's admission, his family gathered here in the intensive care visitors room. They were asked by the surgical team to make the most difficult and the most unimaginable decision of their lives. And it took them just 5 minutes. And then you had that horrendous meeting of the family in the visitors room at ICU.
Yes.
And the surgeons and physicians, a whole stack of them came in, told you what was happening and asked you to make a most difficult decision.
Yes. The surgeons told us that basically this was it, unless we went ahead with the operation to amputate his 3 remaining limbs, because he'd already had 1 arm amputated at that stage. And there wasn't a lot of hope that he would make it through, so he was given perhaps a less than 1% chance. And I do remember saying to the doctors that Matthew will be the 1%. He will be the one that can make it through.
Matthew has 2 older sisters, Kate and Rachel. They were in the room with Di as the decision was taken to amputate. What consideration did you give to the fact that if Matthew survives against the odds, when he comes out of this coma and out of sedation, he's going to be told, Matthew, you have no arms and no legs?
Look, that's when my sense of humour kicks in, and I was joking, well, what can he do? He can't punch us at that point in time. It really was a way to cope. It was going to be a wait and see. It wasn't going to be something that we could easily go, no, Matthew's going to be fine and perfect. And, there was a long journey ahead. But with Di by his side, we would do everything that we can to make his life and find the next solution.
So Di, being Matthew's wife in this perfect love story, did she have more of a say in that decision for 4 amputations?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because she was the one who had to sign the form. As his next of kin, she was the one who had to actually tell them that the amputations could proceed. And I think at the time she really felt the weight of that responsibility.
She said making that decision about your amputations was the first decision she'd made without you.
Really big one, yeah.
Because she led that meeting.
When I heard about that meeting, I just said to Di, thank you, I would have made exactly the same decision, and I just knew that she would have looked after me, no matter what.
I believed in him at that stage, and I always believe in him. I just needed everybody else to be on board with believing in him. So I didn't want the doctors to go into the operating theatre thinking that it was anything other than a positive experience.
The amputations took 3 hours. First the right leg, then the left, and then, while that was being done, another surgical team started sawing off his right arm. Matthew's recovery would be touch and go.
What was the scariest bit in all of the hospital? in hospital. Yes, Will?
When he nearly died.
Yes.
Same bit.
Yes. I remember coming in and then they said, "Oh, he's gonna die," and then I was like, "Oh no."
They never said that.
Yeah, they said.
They said that he might.
Yeah, he had a 99% chance of dying.
And only a 1% of living. And the 1% won against the 99 people.
Hello. How are you? Come on in.
Hello, beautiful.
Big cuddle.
How are you, sweetie? What have you got?
15 months have passed since Matthew's arms and legs were amputated.
The other hand up here.
Was there a point for you where you said, now I get it, I understand the picture, I understand the reality?
I think when I got home the first night and I was there at home and I could realise what the new normal might be, I think that was the time when it kind of really sunk in the most.
Can't climb the stairs?
No.
Can't go to the bathroom?
No.
Can't clean your teeth?
Yeah, can't roll over in the middle of the night, you know. Can't blow my nose, that's a bit annoying. So. How about this one? Look! How about this one? You got the other one?
Got it!
You missed it. Here you go. I'll push it. You got it? Look. Come on, grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Quick, it's there. It's there.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
I got it.
Can you take that with Daddy, okay?
After his amputations, Matthew was on life support and in an induced coma for 3 weeks. Watching over him, waiting with him, was his wife, Di. When you made that terribly difficult decision in the visitor's room to say yes, amputate all limbs,
Yes.
you took only 5 minutes.
Yes. In my mind, there was no alternative. I couldn't let Matthew die. He is my everything. Matthew and our kids mean the world to me, and he is the most amazing dad, and he needs to be here for the journey to guide our kids, and he will be.
What do you miss the most?
What do I miss the most? Probably holding hands.
When he came to 3 weeks later, and it was your job to tell him what had happened, that it wasn't the flu, and you now have no arms and legs, do you remember what you said?
Yes, I do. You got to the point where the doctors had done everything that they could medically to save your life, and there was no other way forward, and the only option was to amputate his remaining arms and legs. And so I had gone ahead with that option to amputate his arms and legs to save his life.
It's hard for the rest of us to get our minds around that. You've gone to hospital sick, and you wake up knowing nothing, to be told you have no arms and no legs.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're coming out of sedation. Did you fully understand what she was telling you?
I can't remember exactly what she told me now, but I do remember a couple of key things. I remember sitting there and listening to Di explain like a sequence of events of what had happened and what I'd gone through, and I just remember thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, now I know I was not feeling very well. And I just had this overwhelming feeling, given Di was there, that everything was going to be okay. Now I get sad about the lost opportunities that I could have had with arms and legs. But with every time you see the sadness, you see the other side of the opportunities and the fantastic the fact that I'm here to see the kids grow up and to help die and to grow old is just such a blessing. The rest of it doesn't really matter, you know, and I just get a little bit sad sometimes about those lost opportunities, that's all, you know, because just kicking a ball, it's always the simple things, you know.
Grieving for what you can't do is quite different from grieving for yourself.
Yes.
To make it blunt,
Yep.
feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Which would be very understandable.
It would. It just doesn't appear to really be in me to dwell there for very long. I mean, it still strikes me every once in a while. Not so much now. I think, you know, when my two boys, you know, younger boys, you know, could see the fear in their eyes, that's when it really struck me. And that was that same day. So when they first saw me awake.
You would have still been pretty hazy then, but you still saw the fear in the boys' eyes.
Yeah.
Strong memory.
Mm. Yeah.
Was that, are you practicing going out and trying not to move your shoulder?
Oh, thanks, Sam.
Are you working on how to put your arms out without putting that shoulder up?
Yeah.
So you're working on that?
There's stuff that we haven't been through what you've been through, and nothing like it, and wearing a wedding ring.
Yeah, I miss mine. We've talked about putting it around my neck on a necklace and stuff like that, but I kind of, the way that I move, it would get in the way, so we haven't quite worked out, unless I pierce my ears and stick it in there. So we'll see how we go. And my watch, she gave me a watch for my 21st birthday, and I miss that as well.
I bet.
Mm.
We all have difficulty, Matthew, in understanding phantom pain. Can you help us?
Yeah, it's, for some reason it's, well, for a number of reasons it's actually worse in my hands than in my legs. It kind of feels like my hands and arms are on fire all the time. And my legs, they leave me alone most of the time, but every once in a while I kind of get a real shot of pain up from my foot for some strange reason. So if I stop talking and lose breath, that's generally what's happened. So that's how it feels.
Now he has to deal with phantom pains.
Yes.
What's that like as his wife when you see that happening?
Oh, well, it's really hard for me to know that he's in pain all the time, so... Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Okay.
You okay?
Oh, yeah. It's just hard watching him in pain, so...
There's something special about this guy. There's something in his psychological makeup that is rare. That's a gift to him and to the people around him. When you see someone for the first time, like Matt, your heart does lurch a little bit. You want to, I feel, you want to help. The family were meeting me in the corridor before I even got to the room. I'd had phone calls from the intensive care guys who were sort of transformed by this family, and from the orthopaedic surgeon, from Tim, about this situation. So there was obviously an effect he was having on people around him, even unconscious in a hospital bed.
After Matthew's limbs were removed, Dr. Saul Geffen took charge of his rehabilitation. Seldom has he seen a patient with Matthew's fighting qualities. Matthew beat virtually all the odds to survive. But now, in your field of rehabilitation, how difficult a patient was he from day one?
Matt's one of the best professional challenges I'll ever have in my life. I bet you couldn't hold up for 10 seconds stationary.
Yep. You know me, so you shouldn't bet me anything. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
I'll spin anyway, I've got to...
Yeah. You're going to undo it? Yeah. One more and stop. That's it.
Right.
Okay. Oh, so we're going for 10 seconds?
2, 3...
Yeah, I'm wrong.
Damn you, Matthew Ames. Give the man a goal and he gets it.
Well done. It has been an honour and a privilege to work with this guy because I wouldn't have the grace and courage he displayed, and he's displayed from day one.
Fur to fur.
Thanks.
Okay, everything looks where it should be.
Thank you.
Does it feel okay?
Yep.
Yep. Nice. Nice. Good, Matt, good. Okay, get your arms moving.
When you see someone like Matt for the first time, for many people who are not used to disability and disfiguring disabilities, it's very confronting.
Yeah, it seems there are people who are simply uncomfortable when confronted with disability.
Yeah. I think for me, guys are harder than... meeting a guy is harder than meeting a girl because girls will kind of give you a cuddle or a kiss and that's okay. Whereas guys go to shake your hand and then they kind of go, holy crap, what do I do? And you can see it in their eyes. So, you know, most of the time when I get an opportunity, I kind of go, shake my stump, it's what I've got left.
We've seen him in the gym at rehab.
Yes,
He really goes for it, doesn't he?
he does.
Stairs have got a new name. Mount Matthew.
He's amazing because he keeps pushing forward all the time.
And I haven't done this little before, so this is...
You haven't touched him?
I haven't touched him.
You
Usually...
haven't touched him yet. Well, this one's going to be easy because he can flop on us.
Yeah.
Take your time, don't rush.
No.
Get set. Get set.
Great control.
Yes, well done.
Well done.
Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome.
Terrific.
Mount
Good
Matthew.
work.
You're on top of Mount Matthew. Seriously, I'm going to get some graffiti on this later.
Do it.
What do you think would stop him from this incredible ability to stay up and positive? What would it take to stop him?
To not have the family there. The family means everything to Matthew. He's doing this all for us, for us all to be together.
Whose birthday party is it today?
Me.
And last year you had a birthday party too.
Yes.
When you turned 9.
Yes.
And what was the big surprise?
Daddy came home for the first time, and it was only a week out of intensive care, and I was like to Mum, oh, the one thing I'd really like for my birthday is for him to come home, and I got it a bit. Well, he got out of intensive care for 2 hours. So, one of the best things that ever happened to me.
I remember being a bit apprehensive. I still wasn't feeling very well, and looking back now, I didn't look very well. But I remember just thinking, this is going to be a bit hard, but I just wanted to be there for Luke's birthday. You know, I wanted to get home for so long, and just out of intensive care, I just needed something to hang on to. So just to be home and see home again was just amazing.
And great for Luke.
Oh yeah, it was just to see the smile on his face when he walked down the stairs was amazing.
Who's come to see you?
Oh, nice party!
Party!
It would be 8 months before Matthew was well enough to come home for good. When he was in his coma, Di kept a diary for him to read when he woke. Has Matthew seen this?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, a fair while ago. So.
Well, I just read it to Matthew. Luke summed up how he felt the other night when he said, "It doesn't matter whether Daddy has arms or legs, it's what's on the inside that counts." And that's so true. There have been times when you've been in hospital and I thought that I just need to speak to you. You are my rock. You are my everything. Without being able to talk to you, life has been unbearable. I know that the reality of what you're facing may seem hard to some, but not to you. In the days that it is hard, I am here to be your rock. I will always be here for you. I love you now more than I've ever loved you. You are my soulmate.
I love you too. You do you first. See, that's what she always does.
This love affair with Di, which has emerged in the story, very strong.
Right.
For more than 20 years and unchanged, if not in fact strengthened by this trauma. How important is that?
I would only hope for a partner like that for everybody because, you know, the marriage vow said health and sickness, good times and bad, and she's done that, so.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
I get emotional about it, sorry. It does, it touches you. It really does, and I hope it touches the people watching.
Morning, Daddy.
Morning.
Hi, hon.
Good morning, Em.
Morning.
How are you?
Give us the day-to-day routine.
Oh, the day-to-day routine now.
So we get woken up generally by the front door at 6:30 in the morning. So somebody comes in to help me get ready. Because with 4 kids, if we kind of waited till I was ready, till all the kids were done and I got some help, it'd be about midday. So we get a bit of help in the morning for a couple of hours. So someone comes in to wake me up and get me out of bed, gets me showered, shaved, brushed teeth and all that kind of stuff.
Luke, sweetie. Do you want to practice out?
Em, I'll race you so you can get the breakfast finished first. Ready?
Matthew feeds himself with a $3,000 English invention called the Neater Eater.
I think I might get there before you. You might need to put some things onto your spoon. That's it. Let's go. It's okay, ready? Okay, stay together. Stay together. Okay.
He takes the boys to Taekwondo.
Hello.
In fact, as much as he can, Matthew tries to lead as normal a life as possible.
What else is missing?
I can.
You can do this, okay? Go for it.
Yeah. Why is your straw got more circumference than the pump straws?
There you go. Oh man, you look hot. You look fantastic.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thanks, hon.
Woo! No, you run for me. Go, 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 go.
But this is not where the story ends. It's just beginning. Soon, Matthew will be the first Australian to get 4 bionic limbs.
It will change his life.
I'll be driving in 5 years' time.
Matthew and Di have always loved to dance. Even today, that hasn't changed. They're doing their best to keep things normal, but a lot has changed. What do you miss the most?
Probably holding hands. It's hard because that's just one of the things that you do as a couple, you know. You go out and so much revolves around, you know, you touch each other on your hands or, yeah. So and he had beautiful hands too. I loved cuddling his hands. His hands were huge, and it always felt like a safe place when you were holding Matthew's hands. When I was holding Matthew's hands, so yeah. So.
We better say goodbye here.
Okay. All right. Bye. Love you.
Bye bye. Can I cuddle too?
Bye bye.
Oh, you might.
Can I have a kiss?
I don't know
cuddle?
if you'll have to.
All right, squeezy. What about squeezy cuddle?
Bye bye, beautiful.
To lose the ability to hold or to walk is huge. But for Matthew, there's hope.
Matthew needs limbs to do everything other than hop around or waddle on his bottom. So the system that we're trying to get for Matthew involves very expensive prostheses because they're gold standard, they're the best that's available.
Bionic limbs, $500,000 worth. On Tuesday, Matthew and Di flew from Brisbane to Melbourne for an operation to prepare him for his new limbs.
Matthew. Hey Phil, how are you? Good to see you.
The leaders of the surgical team have given their time for free. They're astounded Matthew even lived. How often would you see a patient who requires 4 amputations and survive?
Never seen it.
Never seen it?
No.
Is he the first trying this new technology?
Yes, he's the first quadruple amputee.
The thing that's going to change for them in the near future is these techniques that we're going to do, which will leave metal rods protruding from all of his limbs. Now, the metal rods are about this long, and they have a square peg on the end. And that's how the new limbs are going to attach to his body.
This is how Matthew's bionic limbs will operate. Electrodes implanted in the nerves and muscles in his stumps will send signals from his brain, making his hands move. So you're on the way to being a bionic man?
Yeah, looks like it. That's not bad now.
One more surgery, one more risk, one more piece of metal implanted. It's one step closer to mobility, one step closer to self-care, and one giant step forward for Matthew. Matthew's surgery takes 3.5 hours, and Di lives every minute of it. It all goes well.
You look great.
Yeah, honeymoon period. Before the morphine wears off.
The support of Di and his family and friends has been absolutely critical to getting him through.
Do you need any help?
Yes. No, I do.
But it's also prompted great reflection as Matthew comes to terms with, in his words, his new normal.
I kind of know that those around me are picking up the load for the things that I used to do. I think as a guy, I kind of had a sense of identity that was pretty strongly incorporated, my work and, my role in the house and, fixing things and, got a workshop and, that kind of stuff. Even, you got to write on, if you join Twitter, you got to write your 20 character or 20 word description of yourself. Mine's still blank because I haven't really worked out how do I describe myself, and that's kind of an ongoing journey.
Do you want to have a crack at that self-description now?
Yeah, I've kind of worked at some of it. Harry tried to recall what he had been dreaming about. I think how I describe myself now would be a husband, a dad. He concentrated hard, frowning, trying to remember. The dim picture of a darkened room came to him. A son and brother and friend. And for me, that starting just with that description is probably different to the way I would have done it before. Relationships have become much more important to me. I probably put on there, I'm an engineer, still am, and we'll probably get back at that. I might put in there towards the end, and by the way, I've got no limbs, but that's kind of towards the end of the description.
We can hold him.
You can.
Yeah.
A few other dots to be filled in. So I think that's where I'm at the moment. Hello.
Hello, beautiful.
G'day, Matthew. How you doing?
Hi, Greg. How you going?
Really good.
Great to meet you.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And just this way.
In the transformation of Matthew Ames from quadruple amputee to bionic man, there has been no bigger day than this. He's both nervous and excited about what's inside the silver box. Called a Michelangelo hand, it's made in Germany, made to look and work like a human hand.
All right, Matthew, so I'm plugging the batteries into the hand, which will give us external power.
Yep, excellent.
And that will help us make use of the signals within your arm.
This is how it works. When muscles in what remains of the arm are flexed, signals are sent along wires that switch on tiny electric motors and bring the hand to life. But until today's test, no one knows whether Matthew has enough muscle control left to operate the bionic system.
So what I'm looking for is the muscle bellies.
I lost a fair bit of muscle when I was in my coma, so, it's going to take me a while to get a lot of that muscle back again. I used to be a two-finger typer.
Before the test, Matthew Googled the bionic hands. They cost around $100,000 each, and if all goes well, should give him remarkable control and strength.
Are you able to do a contraction for me and relax?
But the initial signs for Matthew were mixed, and he was worried.
All of the testing that I'd had showed that I had one of my four muscles that I can predominantly use was a strong signal and the other ones were quite weak, and I had come to terms with the fact that I may not be able to drive the bionics well.
Okay, and again, and relax. Again, and relax. That's actually really good. What we need to do is...
I didn't think I'd be able to get
my tricep, so I've been trying really hard.
From both of those sites, it looks like we'll be able to get functional control.
It's a great start, but the critical part is yet to come. After the wires are connected to the bionic hand itself, instead of the computer, Matthew faces his moment of truth.
So let's start with a signal to close the hand, which would be one of your tricep contractions.
Tricep?
Great. And now try a bicep contraction to open the hand. And let's try the tricep to close it. Great.
Cool.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
I can wave. It's quite easy.
And close.
Great.
Very nice.
And close it slowly. A little bit more. Great.
His bionic hand breakthrough happened on a day that's special to him for another reason.
Ta-da!
Did you do it? Awesome!
It's Matthew and Di's 19th wedding anniversary. At dinner that night, Matthew breaks the news that he has been desperate to tell Di all day.
So, you wanted to tell me how you went today?
Oh, yeah. So, it was fantastic. Pretty excited.
You're making me cry.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. So I burst into tears when Matthew told me about it because I was so excited for him and for us that his body can operate his prosthetic arm.
There you go.
Thanks, beautiful.
Love you.
Oh, I love you too. They're gorgeous.
Thanks.
What should we play?
Including
you.
Including me?
Oh, we forgot it.
We could play Red Rover.
So how do you see him in 4 or 5 years' time?
A legend.